A time before shoes must have been rough. Imagine being in your disease-infested village where the most important people who don't look like they could even carry their own weight, let alone walk, are the most respected, wealthy, and have village-wide clout without moving a single toenail. But then there's you, looking out to the horizon, to what lies ahead. I don't have a high body mass index like those with status, but maybe I can spread my influence on foot. But it hurts to spread influence on foot, so you get some bark, leaves, and other plant material, and congrats, your feet are now protected by glorified foot bags. But most importantly, your status is now huge, because you can walk on rocks. That was really cool in 8000 BC, by the way. Fast forward 3,000 years to 5000 BC, and we see the invention of the first leather shoe called the Irene 1. Sounds very familiar to me. This guy was probably the first hype beast on this planet. Heck, some sneakerhead definitely owns it today in a hyperbolic chamber somewhere next to his unopened Jordans. What a flex. I wonder if he has a collection of fossilized toe jams so we can see exactly what that looks like, knowing these type of people. Now that we have the original shoe law out of the way, where we went from foot bags to Irene 1s, let's now look at what each of the most famous empires were walking, fighting, committing treason, and chasing each other in. Let's go. Common folk were wearing shoes for functionality. In ancient Egypt, most people typically walked around barefoot, but sometimes wore sandals made out of papyrus, or if they had money, leather, when traversing rocks and other hazardous terrain. In medieval England, enclosed leather shoes were the norm, and they were usually accompanied by socks made of wool or linen that were bright in color. But flexing and showing off your new shoes has always been on the agenda for some, and the high body mass index royal folks wore whatever this is. Certainly more style over functionality, I guess. Pharaohs used to wear pimped out sandals decorated with gold, and medieval kings used to wear poulaines, pull-in, whatever you call it. The toes of these shoes could be up to 12 inches or 30 centimeters long, and were often stiffened with materials like moss or wool. The extreme length led to controversy, with some church officials criticizing the shoes for hindering their ability to kneel and pray, and even blaming them for the plague. I mean, it kind of looks similar to the plague mask. I mean, where did they get that inspiration from, I guess? They were also difficult to walk in and caused foot deformities, basically giving the elite a reason not to do any manual work. Then came the Renaissance, where everyone was thinking about thinking, and thinking a lot about thinking. Revolutionary ideas, great battles, and terrible shoe choices encompass this era. Meet the chopin, shopping. Platform heels so tall they made stilts jealous. They were worn by rich women in Venice and Spain. These were equal parts footwear and architectural projects. They protected dresses from the mud and boosted social status. Literally, the taller the shoe, the higher your class. Some women needed assistance just to walk, guaranteeing the ankle roll of the century when they stepped in the wrong place. Fast forward to the Industrial Revolution, where people finally decided, hey, maybe shoes should be comfortable. By the 1800s, the first shoe factories had appeared in Europe, and by the mid-1800s, machines like the sewing machine made producing shoes cheaper and faster. Northampton, England, became the shoe capital of the world, though most of those factories are now demolished or have either become Airbnbs that you can stay in per night. Online, you can book right now. But what was the real innovation of this era? Was it mass production of shoes? Was it comfortable shoes? Kind of. It actually was left and right shoes became a thing. Before this era, both feet wore the same shape, so technically it was impossible to put your shoes on the wrong feet. Humanity peaked there for a second. Credit for designing the first rubber-soled sports shoes is usually attributed to the Liverpool Rubber Company, founded by John Boyd Dunlop in the 1850s. Dunlop was the inventor and found a technique for attaching canvas shoe uppers to a rubber sole. This is the same company that makes the tires for your car and tennis balls today. Those canvas and rubber hybrids were basically the first modern sneakers. The term sneakers gained popularity in the late 19th century when it was used to describe quiet, rubber-soled tennis shoes that allowed people to sneak around. Converse began selling its non-skid shoes, which helped cement the term in the public's vocabulary. I would say the word sneakers is perfect for both athletes and petty criminals, since it came from how quietly people could move in them. In the early 20th century, brands like Converse, Adidas, Puma, and later Nike all popped up like mushrooms after rain. Sneakers became a cultural icon, especially with the rise of hip-hop in the 1970s and 80s, and the 1984 collaboration between Michael Jordan and Nike, which helped launch them into the global phenomenon they are today. Also, the advancement of technology used in making shoes for sport played a significant part in sporting historical moments, such as Usain Bolt's 100-meter record time he set in Berlin in 2009. Today, most shoes are made out of synthetics and foam and any other material that is manufactured in China that you couldn't name with a gun to your head. Most people wear casual sports sneakers for everyday use these days, and the use of these materials have made shoes lighter and more comfortable, a far cry from chopines and poulaines. Basically, we went from foot bags to cloud walking, but one thing that hasn't changed is the lack of practicality of luxury shoes. Some people never learn. Some shoes are looking like hot air balloons and some are looking like actual feet, which doesn't make sense to me as to why you're wearing shoes, and it makes me feel very uncomfortable looking at them. But it's fine. You can walk around the store with those if you really want to. The person with the world's largest recorded shoe size belongs to Robert Wadlow, who wore a US size 37AA shoe that was 18.5 inches or 47 centimeters long. Do whatever you want with that information, by the way. Now that we find ourselves at the pinnacle of synthetic shoes that are lightweight, walking on cloud material, what's in store for the future of shoes, you ask me? Are we going to walk on walls, run faster, fly? I don't think so. But all I know is that I don't think we're going back to foot bags or come up with shoes like this. Because no matter how advanced shoes get, one thing never changes. Humans will always find a way to suffer for fashion and look ridiculous doing it. This all makes me wonder. I wonder how toe jam has changed over time. Did it grow better in shoes made out of actual living things, or is it growing better in our foot-shaped shoe that we find ourselves in? But, I mean, where's the space for the foot jam? I don't know. Who cares? Who's going to talk about that anyway?